A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. Today we come to you straight from our Delhi studio as I'm here to interview Rahul Talwar, the Chief Marketing Officer of what's now called Axis Max Life Insurance. These two giant entities are coming together. The offering is a lot more robust, a lot more deeper. And what's more, well, no better person than Rahul Talwar to give me the lowdown on what's in store for this new brand, or rather a renewed brand with double strength called Axis Max Life. Welcome to the show, Rahul. Truly a pleasure. I'm glad we can actually make this happen after a lot of back and forth.
Thank you, Sonali. Glad to be here.
Max Life, I think broadly everybody knows. Axis Bank, also, highly reputable bank. We all know that, they've been your primary distributor for a while now. And in 2021, they became your primary shareholder. And now, of course, you've kind of cemented that relationship and joined both these brands together. First questions first, before I go into other areas of insurance. What was the need to bring these two entities together in terms of its branding?
So first, again, we call this as the brand refresh because we fundamentally believe that there's always those inflection points available in businesses and in consumer brands' life stages where you can infuse more energy.
Sure.
I think one small correction that today, if you look at the organization Axis Max Life Insurance, or if you were to dial back to, say, April 21, and if you were to look at how we were structured, we were a joint venture between Max Financial and Axis Bank, where we were about close to 80% owned by Max Financial and 20% owned by Axis Bank.
Right.
So that structure of the joint venture remains constant.
Sure.
What's changed? When we look at this entire life insurance space, Sonali, and because you've seen many categories, including ourselves, you've seen increasingly that even this category has started to call out the role of brands. And with this increased consumer awareness, thanks to the pandemic and the post-pandemic environment, there is this entire play of what brands can do as a life insurance product service in their lives. If you look at the larger history of, as earlier called Max Life Insurance, we were playing in the top tier on the leaderboard in terms of our product and services. We were right there in terms of our brand appeal, but we were more anchored in the urban and tier one cities of India.
Sure.
When you look at the larger growth algorithm of this category and of our business, and if you look at our aspirations, where we try to call out our aspirations qualitatively to say that we want to be the most admired life insurance business in India, we wanted to go out and play to the growth available beyond urban and tier one.
Right.
And the minute you start playing with those objectives and you start building in those narratives in the growth equation for the organization and for the brand, we said, why not unlock more energy within the brand identity itself? And we said that, okay, Max Life Insurance, a rock solid brand. We were right there in terms of our awareness and brand consideration scores in urban and tier one. But there's always this added energy that you could have if you were to extract the power from the Axis franchise. And much like everything that happens around marketing, and not to the surprise of your viewers, there was a robust science engine that was put behind it, a lot of research analytics to figure out how we can extract more power from the existing Max Life Insurance identity and take advantage of what's available from the joint venture partner from the Axis Bank side. And what we figured out was that this entire growth agenda beyond urban and tier one, focusing in tier two and tier three, is where if we were to include Axis in the identity of Max Life Insurance, you could just unlock this potential. So strategically, to play to growth, to be able to play to growth beyond urban and tier one, and to be able to add more energy on the earlier called Max Life Insurance is where the brand refresh exercise was undertaken. And all the work that happened qualitatively and quantitatively anchored ourselves to the solution of us being now called as Axis Max Life Insurance. Another aspect, if you look at this category, Sonali, it's a category which has a huge influx of B2B quotient and
Sure.
B2C.
Yeah.
And when you look at the strength of a brand, the strength of the brand is in its identity, which is visual, but it's also in the verbal identity of the brand, because a lot of conversations that we have with our prospects or with our customers are verbal. And that's when in the solution of brand refresh that we called out, we said we want to hold on to the strengths of Max Life Insurance and find a way to add Axis strengths to it, which is why the solution says Axis Max Life Insurance,
Right.
because you're able to call out the Max Life Insurance continuity, and add the energies of Axis Bank to it.
Now, to just get a understanding for myself and, of course, also my audience, the life insurance space, how have you seen this life insurance space grow, let's say, in the last 5 years? Let's say pre-COVID, during COVID, which I believe that this category got an impetus, and of course, post-COVID, what's the kind of growth or degrowth you've seen?
So maybe I'll just go a little back to even 5 years and maybe just start from the fact that if you look at what's the underpinning concept of this category or a product called life insurance is anchored in what we call as trust. Because fundamentally, what are you covering for? You're covering for an eventuality that is not foreseen and that you can't assume when that eventuality may come, say, in an individual's lifestyle or lifespan, and you're trying to cover for that risk. In trying to cover for that risk, the underpinning concept is that of trust. So if you were to ask me today, one currency that works in this category, that's trust, first. Second, if you were to see this category for the years that it's existed, this category has largely been so far predominantly talking about, say, breadwinner in a fairly unidimensional way, and it was always looking at the breadwinner from a very male skew.
True.
So I think the second point from the category perspective.
Yeah.
Third, there is a reason why you want to cover for your risks when you're evaluating life insurance, because you don't know what uncertainty is going to come your way as you go along. Because as you grow in your life, you are going to cover for more and more risks. So coming back to your question, what we have seen as a few mindset changes or few insights, I think one, there is a lot more awareness about life insurance being essential. Second, I think having the purest form of life insurance, what we call in the manufacturer's terms as term insurance.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more awareness around that. And brands or businesses which are able to live up to the core concept of trust, I think are able to take advantage of what we are seeing around us. So
Rahul, my question to you is, I mean, and since you're a company that does extensive consumer research, right? So your insights are pretty telling of what the society or the country is thinking. What are the main, let's say, challenges for consumers, the layman, when they think of life insurance?
Conversationally first. I think conversationally, if you were to look at the world of consumer or customer insights, it broadly get drilled down to, say, 3 or 4 key buckets. The first one is to be able to go back and demystify a product called life insurance. And I think which is where the kinds of life insurance products available today, the fact that there is a term insurance, the fact that there are saving products within life insurance, and then there are long-term retirement products. So demystifying the product side of life insurance. Second, the big insight that comes up is that the entire servicing part, or because again, life insurance as a product is a long duration product.
Yeah.
You may take today and you may end up consuming the benefits of it over 20 years, 25 years, 40 years, which is why the big theme, best to buy life insurance yesterday. I think on the servicing side, what we are seeing as insights is that there are 2 kinds of customers. One, DIY, do it yourself. Second, DIFM, do it for me. So to be able to go back and create a servicing engine which does justice to both kind of consumer needs, one who want to do it themselves, second, to be able to make it more enabling. So that's the second bucket. The third one that we have picked up as insights again is that much like every other category, this industry needs to be able to create more awareness around what we call as cover or sum assured. Cover is the word from a consumer world, and sum assured is what we call as a manufacturer. And that's where my earlier point that I said, to be able to create awareness around a thumb rule that says that if the breadwinner is bringing X amount to the household as income, then the ideal sum assured or cover that breadwinner should be covering up for the household is 10x. Now, you may not be able to go through this entire journey of buying a 10x cover in one go, but to be able to build up your sum assured over the journey and how the manufacturer and the ecosystem is becoming an enabler in that journey. So that's the third bucket. The fourth one that we have seen very clearly, Sonali, is also around this entire space of trying to ensure that you're not going back and talking about life insurance as a burdensome conversation. If you were to look at the legacy of this category, this category has always gone back and sold or spoken about life insurance under the umbrella of fear. And fear of uncertainty, fear of death.
Yeah.
And culturally, death is a taboo conversation for us. While yes, as generations are moving on, it's becoming a lot more opened up. But fundamentally, it's still not a very active conversation to have. So, and if you then go back and layer this entire cultural nuance of India being a young economy, India being an aspirational economy, how do you go back and flip the conversation of life insurance from fear to more about life and life expansion? And I think that is one nuance that at Axis Max Life Insurance, we've been able to capture, that versus going back and telling in a conversation that breadwinner no longer there, and that's why you need life insurance or a fear of death.
Morbid conversation.
To be able to go back and say that if today you are a consumer or a mindset which is mindful about health, that you're taking some kind of steps to look after your health.
Sure.
You're going back and looking at some kind of financial planning instruments because you want to cover for various goals in the life of your household. You may be doing it for your child's education. You may be doing it for your child's marriage. You may be doing it for your own retirement for that matter. Go back and look at life insurance as a proactive financial planning instrument. Do not go back and look at it from the point of view of a morbid fear conversation. So that's the fourth bucket that we have seen as a nuance. Last but not the least, I think what we have also picked up that various parts of this country are behaving differently to different kinds of products. Like if you go back to the East, now East conventionally is a very savings mindset. Now they believe in savings. So to be able to go back and talk about life insurance from a savings perspective to an East audience, versus going back and talking to, say, a South audience, which is far more functional. You look at any other category also, they pick up the functionality of the product really well. So to be able to go back and talk about life insurance maybe from the perspective of term insurance, because term insurance is very functional, right? The first premium that you pay, you're straight away covering up a certain kind of sum assured for your household. So to be able to nuance this entire story of the demographic dividend available in the country along with products is the fifth insight that we have picked up from the work that we do.
See, it's interesting that as a product, you're both B2C and B2B. I want to come to this, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? As a lay consumer, when I look at insurance, whether it's life or it's health or any other product of insurance, I'm assuming everybody goes through an agent, right? And that agent is a very important kind of intermediary in the insurance space. Is that still the case where the agent is an important person in the insurance game? Or are you seeing more and more people directly coming to, let's say, for instance, with Axis Max Life to kind of buy their product?
I think the timeless concept of this category is trust, like I said earlier as well. Now, as Indians, and again, coming in from the cultural DNA, what we have seen very clearly is that culture and trust, when it comes together, it boils down to the human manifestation of trust. So what we have seen that because of the way this category has been constructed for a better part of 70 years, including the last 25 odd years with the private space coming up, we have seen that the intermediary, or as we call as the agent advisor, say from the traditional language of this category, or with the advent of bank partnerships, you've got your relationship managers. They end up being the human face of this trust conversation that you're trying to have with your prospect. But the digital ecosystem, the way it's played out in the last 10 years, what we have seen interestingly, even at Axis Max Life Insurance, and also if you look at the larger aggregator space, that close to about 30 to 40% of new customers are walking in through the digital gateway. Now, new customers, when they walk into the digital gateway, they are either coming in direct to the manufacturer, or they're coming in through the aggregator. Now, their interactions with the brand experience or their customer experience is very different from the ones that are coming in through the agent advisor or the bank relationship manager. So if you were to ask the same question, say back in 2015, I would have said that predominantly you will have customers walking in from the assisted sales model, which is through an agent advisor or a bank relationship manager. But now as we sit today, again, the digital tailwinds coming in the post-pandemic world, the entire digital ecosystem, which is fairly aggressive in trying to acquire the customers, you're seeing close to about 3 to 4 customers out of 10 coming in from the digital gateway.
That's significant, 30 to 40% direct.
Yeah.
But my question is, when a tragedy occurs and the execution needs to kind of come into play, one usually relies on their agent because they're doing the work, right? Are you suggesting that this 30 to 40% and now has it become so seamless to kind of execute that they are open to be going without an intermediary?
So two things. One, the fact that this 30 to 40% of the customers are coming through the digital gateway is the way they enter the relationship or enter the experience. When it comes to the moment of truth, which is the entire claims conversation that we had, what we have seen in this category is that over time, claims has become a huge point of differentiation across various brands.
Okay.
And which is why there is this increased focus on trying to ensure that if and when that situation were to come up, where the moment of truth comes up and say the nominee in this case is going to be interacting because it's an eventuality, hypothetically, and the nominee is then going through the entire experience of trying to ensure that they get what they're supposed to get. The process and the interaction has been humanified to a point that the output that they get out of it as the claims experience is something that eventually in whatever time frame you're talking about, you're able to deliver that promise. That's one. Second, there is this concept, Sonali, called in this category as claims paid ratio. That's a number. And increasingly, there is a lot more awareness around these consumers who come through either the digital gateway or through the B2B route of understanding that, okay, what are brands committing to me today, which is a point of credibility or a point of trust called claims paid ratio. For example, Axis Max Life Insurance, out of the last 7 years, we've been holding on to our positions of strength on the claims platform. This year, our claims paid ratio number is standing at 99.65%. And we in marketing emotional language, we try and talk about this as India ke bharose ka number. Because the minute you're able to wrap around the fact that the brand or the business has credibility around claims, second, you have made your process far more seamless that in that moment of truth, you're able to process, which eventually gets measured like how? By your claims paid ratio number.
Sure.
So I think there's a greater degree of confidence in these customers walking in through either gateways to be able to experience the same from the business.
So this number that you've just said, the Axis
Max Life Insurance claims paid ratio.
Claims paid ratio, which is pretty high. Would it be the highest in the industry?
So again, within the regulatory environment, we can't go back and wrap around words like industry best or number one. However, if today you were to go back and look at the aggregator website and the platform, because that's where you have all the manufacturers and their claims paid ratio numbers being stacked up, we carry the trophy feature.
Okay, great. So tell me, Rahul, now that you have this this combined entity and you want people to know nothing has changed, but you're just double powered or whatever. You've always been quite high on the communication, advertising, medium. What is the new kind of communication that you're looking to send to your current existing customers and also potential customers in terms of what is your new avatar and new offering?
Again, like I said in the beginning of our discussion, that this is more like a brand refresh.
Yeah.
One, and why do I anchor on the word refresh? Because it carries codes of continuity.
Yeah.
And while carrying codes of continuity, you add the new piece of the news that you have. Again, Max Life Insurance traditionally in the past, as we were called earlier, has been built on this platform of Bharosa, which is again anchoring trust. When we came out with this news of brand refresh for our existing customers and for newer consumers who are evaluating Axis Max Life Insurance now, we went out and created this entire marketing narrative around it, which we call in our language as Double Bharosa.
Okay.
Why Double Bharosa? Because Max Life Insurance, being a subject matter expertise in the life insurance space, having a great claims performance over these years,
Sure.
having great product performance, is continuing Bharosa. It's only getting doubled up because you've now got the added energies of the entire Axis ecosystem available in the brand. And also, if you were to look at Sonali, this interesting play of double to Bharosa, double is also very colloquial. Because if you look at the larger narratives in our day-to-day lives that we have, double is fairly colloquial and fairly universal. So when we went out with this announcement of Max Life Insurance is now Axis Max Life Insurance, we played it to the Double Bharosa. Interestingly, life insurance is best understood in a family context because that's what allows you to talk about life insurance. And what's the double play in a family context? It's the two parents. It's no longer the concept of just talking about the male part of the parent.
Okay.
So when you look at double as double parents, you look at double as colloquial and universally understood concept. And also when you look at double as two subject matter expert powerhouses coming together, like you had said in the beginning of your introduction. I think that's what allowed us to talk about Double Bharosa of Max Life Insurance is now Axis Max Life Insurance. In terms of media touch points, in terms of what we have done, interestingly, we have looked at three pillars when we are planning our media strategy. A, we have looked at screen-agnostic presence. So we've again played out to the trends as today viewers or consumers are available at versus trying to go back and play to the traditionalness of television and digital. So I think that's the first part of it. Second, with the advent of engagement, we have ensured that we have tried to make our communication engines and our creative engines far more engaging. We have done interesting print innovations where you almost have our brand ambassadors popping out of, say, the media to be able to deliver the new news, so some degree of engagement. Third, we have again looked at a degree of personalization, again, thanks to newer MarTech platforms being made available. We have tried to leverage our brand ambassadors in Rohit Sharma and Ritika Sachdev, who happen to carry this tag of, say, a mindful young family as they're seen out there. That, again, for people like me, that kind of an association. So we have used a degree of personalization and AI techniques to be able to deliver these messages across, say, the world of consumers and looking at various other media touchpoints.
What is your outlook for 2025? I'm asking you really in the context of, because if you look at, forget the insurance category, look at just categories across. There has been suggestions of a slowdown in terms of consumption, across spaces, just because people have lesser money in their pockets and the slowing down of the economy and all of that. Are you going to see any rub-off on the insurance category, especially life? That's the place that you operate in, because this technically should be like your dal rice, but it is not seen like that, unfortunately.
So again, if you look at recent trends, we've not picked up any signs of, say, slowdown. I think the point that you made was bang on, that it's the dal roti conversation, which is where life insurance comes in. And the fact that a lot of us as manufacturers and a lot of work at an industry level has to ensure that we create that awareness about life insurance. I think interestingly from a marketing perspective, if you were to see, I think there is this big hangover of customization and personalization. I think that's going to play a lot of interesting ways of carrying the message beyond. Because if you look at traditional ways of carrying the message, they are a bit more monologue to dialogue. But I think what the audience, irrespective of the demographics, what they're expecting now as conversations from life insurance is, again, like I said, conversational.
Sure.
So to be able to play to the message in a far more engaging and a conversational way, I think is something that that brands like ourselves need to be able to embrace. What I'm also seeing, interestingly, is a play of contextuality and moments marketing. Traditionally, life insurance marketing or brands have not played to moments marketing or occasion-based marketing as you were to see it. So how can we be out there, much like, say, brands in, say, other categories, which are consumed in far more conversations? So leaving brands there for prospects and consumers to participate and drive those conversations. I think those are the spaces that I see coming up that we have.
Your entire strategy now in your new avatar, right, as Axis Max Life, especially when it comes to your penetration beyond tier 1, which is, your aspiration, how would the marketing, and just the general dialogue and the imagery change to that cohort? Right? Because it's very different to, let's say, marketing to urban India or tier 1.
What happens is two things. A, who carries the message? Okay. So when you look at, say, from a brand's perspective, when you look at an asset in terms of a brand ambassador, say like a Rohit Sharma and a Ritika.
Right.
Now, again, these are national icons which cut across all tiers. So the minute you see the carrier of the message and then you see the message, I think is where the receptibility is far higher. And I think in our case, the marketing mix is able to address that.
What is the advertising plan for, the the new financial year.
So it's again, like I said, because we've just kicked off the brand refresh exercise for ourselves, and any brand refresh exercise typically lasts about 12 to 18 months.
Sure.
So I think we're going to be just ensuring that we are continuously going back and talking about the awareness agenda on Axis Max Life Insurance. We are going to be picking up signals around what kind of blips are we seeing as growth in tier 2, tier 3 in the digital ecosystem, where we are a powerhouse.
Sure.
And to be able to ensure that whatever integrated marketing mix, Sonali, we play with, again, screen agnostic, touchpoint agnostic, should be able to go back and create more awareness about that we are now Axis Max Life Insurance. And second, what Axis Max Life Insurance stands for. Stands for credibility of claims, stands for having one of the best product suits available, stands for sellers who have great product knowledge. So I think everything that we do as a brand is going to be able to carry these messages right across.
Fair enough. On that note, thank you so much, Rahul. I think I am a lot more educated about the insurance space than I was, let's say, half an hour ago. And hopefully my audience is also a lot more educated about your new brand refresh and, of course, the insurance space, at a macro level. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonali. Thanks for this opportunity. And again, to your viewers, Max Life Insurance is now Axis Max Life Insurance. The Double Bharosa is right out there.
For sure. Point well noted. Thank you so much, Rahul.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonali.
Thank you.